Hey, what's going on? It's Diamonds and Hash Marks. Your boys are back. Alex Pichardo, Peyton Pichardo, getting after it. Dude, we already have theme music. You don't need to add any.
Okay. Well, it's really catchy.
Okay. How's the weather down there?
Ow! I just hit my finger. Hurts.
Golly. All right, we're already off to a rough start.
It's interesting. I'm wearing a sweatshirt inside, but it's
Yeah.
87 outside.
87? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird day here in Gainesville. Ordinarily, if it's going to be this cloudy, I need it to be cold. It's been very dreary all day. Like, if it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
hot and cloudy, that makes no sense to me. Like, just open up, let the sun out, let the sun do the heating. But it's weird. It's a
Right, yeah.
weird, warm, muggy, dreary day. I don't even think it's
Yeah,
raining.
we had one of those days yesterday. It was raining like all day, rained all morning. It was actually kind of a vibe though. I have like a certain like playlist I play when like rain and stuff like that happens. So
Oh, so you're moody when it rains?
I was moody. Yeah, I like it in a good way though. I was just like, this is something different. So
All right. What hat you wearing today?
got the Bass Pro hat.
Oh, Bass Pro
Wearing it
again?
backwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I decided to break out the old jumbo shrimp hat because I wasn't about to
That's
wear a
awesome,
Red
man.
Sox hat again. I don't feel comfortable wearing a Jaguars hat right now, just given the state of their season. So
yeah, as of right now, anyway. I agree.
yeah, it's a Thursday,
It
so
is.
we're just gonna do a typical Thursday show today. Nothing too special. We're just gonna talk baseball in the beginning. Gonna talk football later. I actually thinking about it now. I was about to drop the line, pay attention in the show notes because then you're going to find where to pick up the football conversation if you're a football listener only. But I haven't done that. I think I've done that twice for the 9 episodes we've done.
Dang.
So that's on me. You'll get it when you get it, okay?
You get it. Agreed. Also, it's you got to live up to your word.
I know. At some point, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Slight change in how we're going to do things, though. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we are going to switch you guys over to listen only. And that doesn't affect our Apple Podcast audience because you guys were audio only, listen only anyway. But it will affect our Spotify audience. We're going to switch you guys over. So last episode, Pain and Panic is going to be the last time you can watch one of our episodes as opposed to just listening to it. We're doing this because it would be way too much work for me to upload a video to Spotify and YouTube. So we are coming to you guys to YouTube now. That is where you can watch our video. That's where we're going to be uploading those from here on out. So check us out, Diamonds and Hashmarks on YouTube. Brand new channel. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, hit the like button. It's possible.
All the things.
It's possible. Keep your eye out that we do live events in the future, like watching a game, and we'll interact with you guys in the chat. If we're watching the Jags game together, then it's just something to think about, just something we may do. But you guys got to be good at subscribing, ringing the bell on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Got to be good at hitting us up with 5-star reviews. If it's a 4-star review, I guess we'll take it. But any lower than that, please refrain from reviewing it all. If you have a problem with the show, or if you just want to let us know what you think about what we think, hit us up at diamondsandhashmarks@gmail.com. Really, it's just the name of the show at gmail.com. Can't really mess that up. We are also on Twitter. That's probably where you're going to see a lot of the links to the show. That's where I have been posting and will continue to post a lot of the links at Diamond Hashmark on Twitter. There is no S because X, formerly Twitter, doesn't like the amount of characters that are involved in the show's name. And quite frankly, I have my own thoughts about that. I don't like it. Just
it's
let me.
Fault, but it's a good name.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Long day ahead. We got a bunch to talk about. So obviously starting with baseball, the race is on. We are in the thick of it right now.
We are.
And this is one of my favorite times of the year. How are you feeling? Have you watched much baseball? Are you excited? Are you feeling the energy?
Yeah, feeling the energy all the way through, man. I mean, with what I've been seeing just from the teams in the NL and just the races that I've been seeing happening and everything like that. I'm really, really looking forward to this postseason. It's going to be an interesting postseason, one we haven't seen in a couple of years. I think. I think something like like this that we've seen where it's so close and it's like anybody can be the winner
Yeah.
is when the Royals were like good, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's really gonna be an exciting postseason. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it's like a couple teams are good and the rest of them are bad. I think the headline that we're kind of watching unfold in front of us this year is a couple teams are good. Atlanta,
Yep.
Baltimore, Tampa, and all the rest of the teams are really close in the
Yeah.
standings with each other.
Hmm.
And it's not like they're bad. I think the only bad team out there right now, by comparison, is Minnesota.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, but I think everybody else is just fighting tooth and nail for that breath of October air,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Ooh, Breath of October. Okay.
Yeah, I
I'll see.
sounded good to me.
Yeah,
Sounded
that was
good in
great.
my head
Yeah,
when I said it.
I'm
Shoot.
on board.
Yeah, I'm gonna tag that. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, race is on. The Philadelphia Phillies clinched officially. They're going to the playoffs. They're going to be the top seeded National League wildcard team because the
Yeah.
Braves took the NL East so very easily, it appeared.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But nothing got the October juices flowing more than seeing Philadelphia celebrating in the locker room and dancing to the song Dancing on My Own Again. That got me
Yeah.
fired up.
Man, I looked at that. I looked at the walk off and everything, just seeing like the Philadelphia crowd at Citizens Bank, man. It was electric.
Yeah.
Like they knew what was on the line and the whole city got to like celebrate him in that, and I'm watching him like, oh yeah, it's time.
It's time. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
As much as I want the Braves to do well and run away with the World Series, I think at this point, I can't help but look at the red in Philadelphia, watch them just getting after it, having so much fun, and not root for them. It's hard to not root for teams that are clearly having fun and are very
Yeah.
close knit because you know those guys are out there. Like Brandon Marsh, of all people, hits a walk off,
Yeah.
and everybody is jumping on the guy's back. They're all about it. That team's a family. And I think
Yeah.
it has helped a lot. Trey Turner, since the ovation, has turned into the all-star that he was supposed to be the
That he
entire
was.
time. And shoot, we're going to have our conversation here in the future about who's winning what award. But
Yeah.
I would almost be willing to invent a new award for Trey Turner called Comeback Player of the Year in the same season. Because that first half of the year was abysmal. That second half after the ovation, all-star.
Yeah. We saw a World Baseball Classic Trey Turner basically turn into Captain America.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like weak Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. That's a good
Yeah, at the beginning of the year, and then it turned into all right, he's back into that all-star perennial star that he was with the Nationals, with the Dodgers for a little bit, and then now with the Phillies. So I'm excited to see what he does this postseason too. I mean, when everything's on the line and you're fighting with your boys.
Yeah, it's good.
He's gonna
it's
bring
fun
it.
to watch. I'm excited to watch the Aaron Nola Zach Wheeler duo because whatever wild card series they wind up in, they have the luxury of actually resting those two guys now. So whatever 3-game set that they have to win 2 of, you're seeing Aaron Nola and you're seeing Zach Wheeler, and there is no way around it. I like Philly, but that's a conversation we're going to have on Monday when we actually look at playoff matchups because that would just take too long today if we tried to figure out who's playing who do we like going forward, that sort of thing. Because there's just so much at stake right now that we got to get into. I want to start in the American League West. If you are a new listener, this is probably the final time that we are going to tell you. Anytime we say America's team, what we mean is the Seattle Mariners.
Yep.
And the Seattle Mariners are making the playoff push I didn't think they were capable of doing at the beginning of the year when we saw Texas running away with the division and when we knew there was a juggernaut in Houston in that division anyway.
Yeah.
But America's team is getting it done.
Yep.
They still control their destiny, and they only won 1 of 3 against Houston. Didn't help them.
Lost. Yeah.
Didn't hurt them too much, but they got to take care of business. They got a
Yeah, now they got
4-game series.
Texas.
4-game
Yeah.
series, right? And that is going to be what I'm watching. I'm watching that one, and I'm watching the Houston versus Arizona series. Because if
Yep.
we see Arizona jump on Houston's back at the beginning of that, and we see Seattle take 2 of 2 right at the beginning, all of a sudden, that is the fieriest race available to watch. And I'm
Yep.
going to love it.
I'm here
But
for it. Yeah.
last night, you saw Houston and Seattle kind of get into a little bit of a kerfuffle with each other.
Yes. I
I'm
love
breaking
that.
out
Yeah.
all the words today. It's a great day. It's
Great.
September, and October is right around the corner. It's knocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Sunday's October 1st, man.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the kerfuffle.
Yeah.
We're going to get to Dusty Baker here in a second, because I have my own take on that. But
Yeah.
we saw Julio Rodriguez strike out, and the pitcher, whose first name escapes me, his last name is Neris, strikes out Julio Rodriguez and starts walking towards him and starts
Yeah. It was weird.
jawing with him, like shouting,
Yeah.
trash talking back and forth. And it was the end of the inning, too. Like, bro, if you want to celebrate the strikeout, go hype up your own dugout. Because in the
Yeah.
interview afterwards, he was saying, I was just trying to encourage my team to play harder. Okay, well, you don't do that by shouting at Julio Rodriguez.
I think that's the last person you want to shout at and to like get some trash talk down their throat a little bit. I mean,
Right.
with how good J-Rod is and how much of a talent he is over there at Seattle, I'm using that as fuel.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like Stephon Diggs watching the Chiefs
Celebrate
watching
the
their
AFC.
AFC championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AFC championship. Like I'm taking that and I'm riding with it this last series in Texas. But to go on your point.
Yeah. I think Neris is a stable piece in the Houston bullpen, and I am actually very interested to see what Major League Baseball does about this. Ordinarily, a little benches clearing, no punches thrown, you hardly ever see anyone suspended. But I think in this case, given the fact that we know very early on, as early as last night, that Neris used a homophobic slur in Spanish talking to Julio Rodriguez, and given as forward moving as the commissioner's office has been in recent years in Major League Baseball, I would be shocked if he does not wind up suspended for at least the rest of the regular season.
Right. Yeah, we saw that with Yuli Gurriel talking to Yu Darvish and like saying a homophobic slur in that sense.
No. That was
or it wasn't homophobic.
The slanted eye comment slash gesture.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
But it kind of falls under the same thing. For the most part, a little bit, and how the MLB like goes about it. So that's what I meant to say. I would be surprised, just like you, if like something doesn't arise from this.
Yeah,
as well.
But then also, if you're the commissioner's office, I would be again shocked. Number one, if he doesn't wind up suspended, at least for the rest of the regular season, which at this point is like 2 or 3 games. It's 3 games for Houston, but then you have to factor in the fact that he may try to appeal the suspension and get it reduced by a game. So I think if you just show up and you say, hey, he's suspended for 2 games, they'll take the deal or whatever. But then I would also be shocked if the commissioner's office isn't also looking at this and saying, okay, hold on, slow your roll. That's Julio Rodriguez, and we're not standing for this kind of behavior. If you want to celebrate your strikeout, go pump up your own team. Walk towards your own dugout.
Yeah.
Because so I'm all for let the kids play. Let the guy celebrate a strikeout, because Julio Rodriguez is going to celebrate a homer when he sends it 440 over the fence.
Right.
Let the guys celebrate. Let them celebrate within their own teams, though, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And it looks like so his first name's Hector. I'm looking at now on Twitter. He's had a past of this because on June 6th of 2022 he threw at Suarez. He threw at his head and like Eugenio. Thank you. I didn't know how to pronounce it, so thank you for that. And then he got tossed like right after he threw at his head,
and he got suspended for that.
Yep. So
another interesting part of this story is the fact that Julio Rodriguez and Hector Neris in the past have been known as friends. Like they know each other. They grew up in the Dominican Republic around each other. They attended the same baseball academy here in the United States. I think Julio Rodriguez actually had Hector Neris over to his house somewhat recently.
Wow.
So it's weird. I
Yeah.
understand the emotions getting the best of you, possibly a little bit, but at the same time, this isn't the time of the year to do that. You're in the middle of a
Right.
race. You
No.
can't do anything that's going to put your availability at risk.
Right. No. You have to be all in. I think at the end, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just something that bugged me that I wanted to talk about a little bit, just because I don't see
Yeah.
anybody throwing around the word suspension. But Major League Baseball,
I haven't seen
as
anything yet either. Yeah.
forward moving as they have been, with as aggressive as they were suspending Yuli Gurriel a couple years ago,
Right.
another member of the Houston Astros at the time, I
Yeah.
just kind of have been a little surprised that nobody's talking about removing this type of behavior from the game. Make an example out of him, suspend him, take away his availability the rest of the
Yeah.
year, make it hurt the team a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just something that bugged me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of arguments that could be made both ways. But at the same time, their manager, Dusty Baker, I love Dusty. I loved him getting
Sure.
his World Series in Houston as much as I hate Houston.
Right.
But right now, I kind of think he's an old man yelling at a cloud because he's complaining about hit by pitches, saying guys are too bold throwing inside because now they don't have to go up there and hit. My guys are getting hit far too often, and this is after Chaz
Yeah.
McCormick
Yeah.
got hit. But also, Dusty, your pitchers have hit the Mariners 10 times this year.
Yeah.
Mariners pitchers have hit your guys 5 times this year. So if anybody has the right to complain about hit by pitches and start beef, it is Seattle
It's America's
against
team.
your team. It's America's team that has the right to do that.
Yeah.
So again, something that bugged me about Houston. I'm not the biggest Houston fan. I'll straight up say that. But Dusty Baker is yelling at a cloud right now.
Yeah. I love how you put that because that's exactly what it is. I mean, you have no right to be saying any of that with the amount of times that you've been throwing at guys, basically, and
Yeah.
whether it's on purpose or not on purpose. I mean, 10 guys, that's a lot. And it's like AL West rivals as well. So, yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You got to save for both sides here.
Yeah, let's be consistent. If we're going to complain
Yeah.
about hit by pitches, you got to go let the Mariners complain about it too.
Yeah, and we'll complain about blackouts on MLB TV or
Yeah.
too soon.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'll continue to complain about that. Don't you
Yeah,
worry.
me too. Yeah. Shout out
Um,
Rob Manfred, but in a bad way.
yeah. Very, very interesting series. I was a little disappointed to see Seattle drop 2 of 3 in that one. Hold on,
Yeah.
real quick. Before we go any further, I just want to bring up the
Sure.
fact that 2 legends that have been in the game of baseball since you and I started following it are in their last series. And Miguel Cabrera
Oh my
has
gosh, yeah.
played his last series at Comerica Park, and
Mhm.
he hit a bomb in that, number 511. It was great watching him round the bases,
Yeah.
the Comerica
Wow.
Park faithful cheering him on. And then the other is Terry Francona, who did his last
Oh,
series
yes.
at home with Cleveland.
Oh, Terry.
Got his good old Tito. He got his standing ovation,
Yep.
which I think every ball player who is lucky enough to play in the big leagues hopes for a day to just kind of be set aside for them, whether it's in a
Mhm.
competitive season or not, for the opportunity for the fans to thank them. And not many actually get to have that happen for them. Miguel Cabrera is one that it happened
Yep.
for. Tito is another that it happened for. The game has rewarded 2 of its icons over the last couple of years with a standing ovation on their final day. So just the passing of 2 legends that I don't know if we're going to see another Miggy in his prime. I don't know if we're going to see another Tito do what he did in Boston, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to take
Sure.
the time to acknowledge those. Do you think we'll
Yeah.
see another Miggy or Tito?
I don't think we'll see another Miggy. When we saw Miggy, I think in the late 2010s, with how he was producing batting average, home runs, and RBIs, the Triple Crown. For those of you who don't know that what that means, but yeah, he was just on a roll, was winning MVPs. I don't see someone for Miggy's size, like
Right. Yeah.
Miggy, like starting out with Florida, he was a skinny kid but powerful, had strong legs. Then he added some weight. No harm in that. I'm not saying that's a
No, he just
bad
looked
thing.
hungry the whole time in Florida. Then he
He
started
really
eating.
did. Then he started eating, and then he got stronger in that, and like he was like batting like 330 plus, like with the Tigers. So like going that and saying like, well, a guy that his size was producing that well
Yeah.
and was getting on base like all the time. I don't know if we're going to see somebody like that again.
Yeah.
And with what Terry has done for the game for all of these years with the Red Sox and taking them to the 2004, 2007 World Series. I was about to say 2013, but that was John Barrow.
It was.
Yeah, but and even what he's done for the Indians or the Guardians now, I should say, in 2016 when he took him to the World Series.
He did
and
that, yeah.
Yeah, and then they haven't made it back there since. So
Right. And everything
shout
he
out
did
Terry Francona,
prior,
man.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a big fan of that guy's managerial style, letting Manny
Yeah.
be Manny, really kind of took off
Yeah.
under Tito. And because when you think about it, he had some characters. He had Johnny Damon.
Yeah.
Eventually, he had Papelbon, David
Kevin Millar.
Ortiz, Kevin Millar, Kevin Youkilis at one point. He always
Yeah.
had Dustin Pedroia, just a bunch of characters that Tito had to manage. And I think he did it well up until that
He did it
2012
really well.
season.
Yeah.
But, back to Miggy, I don't think we see another guy have the impact on the game that Miggy had, because Miggy, I think, is just a guy with great hands who year in and year out just showcased what it meant to trust your hands, keep your weight back, and shoot the ball the other way if necessary, jump on a pitch
Yep.
inside if necessary. And we watched a
Great,
guy with
yeah.
great hands impact the careers of guys like JD Martinez. And JD Martinez goes on and impacts the career of Mookie Betts. And you just watch this, like,
Yeah, he goes down the line.
family tree of hitting expertise and essentially hitting discipleship really extend from Miggy. A guy with great hands is going to impact the game in more than just one way. And I think Miggy's a great example of that.
Yeah,
But
future Hall of Famer as well. I mean,
you think
I'm
so?
looking at his stats right now. Yeah, I'm looking.
Okay,
I'm looking
all
at his stats right now.
A lot of those numbers are
he's-
big.
He's going to end with a 306 batting average, which is above 300. Which, I mean, just that alone, if you're hitting 3 out of 10 times in the majors, you're a Hall of Famer. I think that's fair
Roughly
to say.
Roughly.
Roughly.
You got to do it for
Sometimes.
a while.
Yeah, you got to do it for a while, and like you have to have like a lot of at bats and a lot of games like going into that. But anyway, he's going to end with 510 homers and 3,168 hits. So he's above the 3,000 hit club, above the 500 hit club. He's batting 306, 40 stolen bases in his career, which is actually really interesting. Well,
which is actually hilarious that he got to 40, but also Acuna stole 70 in 1 year.
That's right. Yeah. So, man, I think we're looking at a future Hall of Famer here, for sure. And then won back-to-back MVPs with the Tigers in 2012 and 2013. Like,
yeah,
it would surprise me if we don't see him. Yeah, he was a dude. I don't think he'll be first ballot. I mean, I could be
probably
proving
not
wrong, but he's there. He's got it. He's got it.
I bet you Tito makes it into at one point or another.
Oh yeah.
You hope it's soon though. So we kind of already talked about Acuna stealing 70 bases. That happened last night, and that was incredible to watch. Just because,
really was,
but it was a little weird. So here's how we're gonna have the conversation. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up the Chicago Cubs right now before we get to Atlanta. The Chicago Cubs right now, at their point in the standings, are tied with the Miami Marlins for that last spot. And that tiebreaker, we'll see how that shakes out, just because I don't quite understand how Major League Baseball's tiebreaker works. But Chicago, this series against Atlanta has not been the kindest to them, but we probably could have told you that at the start. Game 1, they blew a 6-0 lead, and they lost 7-6. It appeared as though there was no bullpen to rely on to get them that win, as much as they wanted to. Last night, oh gosh, the game was tied 3-3 going into the 9th. They get their run. Now it's 4-3. And then Matt Olson comes up, pops out to second base. And this is bottom of the 9th for Atlanta, and the score is 4-3, Chicago's up.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And then you had uh, Marcelo Zuna, who has been a bit streaky this year, and I think he's at the beginning of another little streak right now. He came up and he put a ball in the left field seats, and it was
Yep.
impressive because on a 3-0 count, nonetheless. Because
Yeah.
everybody, I think even the announcers at that point said, you got to be careful if you're the pitcher here. Like, yeah, your count's 3-0, but you can't put one over the middle because he's got a green light. They put one over the middle, and he green lit that thing into the seats, and it was impressive.
Boom. Yeah.
Michael Harris, the second, came up. He put a ball into center field. Center fielder dove for it. There was a pitching change in here, but Michael Harris winds up on second base. The new pitcher just had no command over his breaking ball. That went straight to the backstop. Michael Harris advances to third, but then the Braves couldn't bring in their winning run after they had tied it at 4. Then the next inning, the Cubs get their run because it was the Texas tiebreaker rules in the 10th.
Yep.
So now it's 5-4. Atlanta gets their run as well. But then Acuna comes up.
Yep.
Acuna hit a ball down the right field line, and he gets his single. Now, everybody in the world knows he's at 69 stolen bases. He is one stolen base away. And I think the announcer pointed out at that point, oh, he's going. Absolutely, no doubt. Yeah, going.
Like Dave Roberts in ALCS against the Yankees in 2004.
Yeah.
He's going.
Everybody in the world knew he was going.
Yeah.
It was a good pitch to throw on. It is a fastball on the outer half of the plate. Catcher had a good read on it, but Acuna had an amazing jump. As we have seen all year, Acuna took second base, seemingly almost with ease.
Yeah.
And then you had this 70 stolen bases, first ever member of the 40-70 club. What a year. Clear MVP in my mind. But it was a little weird, and if I'm Chicago, I may be a little ticked about this, just because
agreed.
Seemingly there was this playoff atmosphere flow to the game, but now he stole 70, and he's going to pick up the bag, and they're going to change out the base, and now they're going to do a little video tribute. But Chicago's fighting for their life. I don't know if I want the whole celebration video tribute happening in the middle of possibly the most intense game you've played this year.
Right. And like, to your point, this is the Cubs postseason, basically, we're talking about here. Like,
the Cubs are in the playoffs right now.
Yeah. Like, they're in the playoffs, they're fighting for their lives. I mean, and now they're tied with the Marlins. But yeah, I would, like, if I were on the Cubs, I would be like ticked off. I was like, hey, we're like actually playing a game here. We're trying to make it.
Yeah.
like you guys have already done.
Like, if I'm David Ross, I'm saying, hey, what happened to pace of play? Like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
But also 40-70. You know, that doesn't happen every year. This is the first time that's ever happened.
Doesn't really. So yeah.
So if I'm Chicago, I'm a little ticked. But you know, here we are, 40-70 year. It happened. We called it on this show a couple weeks ago when he did 30-60 and 40-60. I remember saying, hey, 40-70 isn't out of the question. He's got time. He's got the speed. He's got the pop. I think he does it.
He does.
And he did it. Mm-hmm. So my first question to you is there another clear NL MVP candidate other than Acuna?
No, there's not. I mean, the top 3 that come to mind for me is Acuna, Betts, and Freeman. Which, I mean, Freeman being up there in the top 3 still with how old he's gotten. I think he's like 33, 34. Don't correct me, or do correct me if I'm wrong. But
I don't have the time.
Yeah, but him still producing for the Dodgers the way he is, and then Mookie obviously having a monster year, but no. Acuna.
There is no other clear favorite. And I'll say this. There's going to probably be some analytic guy out there who says stolen bases aren't actually that valuable. But I'll reply with this. Sure, you can say that stolen bases aren't actually valuable. But do you have a measurement that weighs the pressure it puts on a pitcher and a catcher who are calling a game and trying to execute pitches when Ronald Acuna is on first base? Is there a measurement showing how much stress the pitcher is under that the catcher is under? Because now the catcher suddenly can't frame pitches and pull baseballs into the strike zone. Now the pitcher can't solely focus on executing his pitches because Acuna's at first. And he's got to keep track of how many pickoffs he's got. Stolen
Yeah,
bases, while they may not directly correlate to runs, without analytics, I can say directly correlate to stress put on a pitcher and stress put on a. What are you doing? This is episode 10. You should know better than that.
Oh gosh, my phone fell on my laptop.
Okay.
Gosh darn it.
But
Hated
directly
you
correlates
were
to
saying.
stress put on a pitcher. And
Yeah.
he's done that 70 times
Yeah.
successfully, not counting all the times he got caught stealing when pressure was still put on the pitcher and catcher. So this Braves
Yep.
offense, I think a lot of success that it has had in the core of its lineup could be attributed to Acuna's speed and elite speed at
Yeah.
that on the base pass.
Yeah,
I don't
totally
think
agree.
we see another. Quite honestly,
Yeah, we were
I
kind of
don't
talking
know
about
if we
it
see another 40-70.
Yeah. We were talking about it in the last episode, I remember, that we were
Mhm.
talking about maybe Ellie De La Cruz if he has, because we know he has the speed, but is he
Yeah.
going to hit 40 bombs? That's the only thing that we're worried about.
Well,
And we
yeah,
had
is he
another
going to hit
person
40
on it.
bombs? But also, is he going to get on base enough times to attempt
Right.
that many stolen bases?
Like, is he going to have at least close to Ronald Acuna's average to be able to be on base? And is his on base percentage going to look like Acuna's? I don't know what it is off the top of my mind. I will look at it right now.
Yeah, but Acuna's stats this year are incredible. His batting average is 336.
Yeah.
He's not hitting 280 and successfully
Right.
stealing second base every time he gets on and just swinging a club up there hoping to hit a bomb. No, he's consistently getting on base as well. So,
Yeah.
very impressive year from Acuna. I don't
on
want to
base
hear.
percentage for him is 414, and he's leading the league. So
Yeah,
Elliot Cruz has to have 14 in order for him to So.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a. The other guy that I know we mentioned the other time we talked about this was Corbin Carroll, but I think he's got a couple years before that bat fully develops. 40 bombs is hard. It's only been done so many times, let alone 70 stolen bases. So hats off to Acuna. He had a great year. Congrats. You're the National League MVP. But, you feel for Chicago because they ran into a juggernaut at the worst time of the year. And when you look at Miami's schedule, they had New York, and then they're rolling into Pittsburgh. So Miami has a legit shot to hold on to this.
They do.
So that's just going to take us right into our National League wildcard conversation. And this is the last time we get to do predictions on this. Last time we get to have a conversation about this before things are determined. The next time you hear anything from us, it will be October 2nd. And that is going to be such a fun episode. We're going to have a guest on the show there. We're going to talk a lot of football first. And then we're going to probably spend a lot of time talking baseball. So clear your schedule because Monday's episode that you can listen to on Monday or on Tuesday is going to be so much fun. But this is the last time that we get to talk National League wildcard. So there is no buying. There is no selling. There is no holding. There's only fact. Well, actually, no, here, let me rephrase that. There is no holding. There is only buying and selling. Tell me right now who your National League playoff competitors are. None of this. I got to wait and see. Tell me right now, what's your final prediction?
All right. So, I mean, we got our division leaders, obviously. Those are solidified. Atlanta, LA, and Milwaukee, they're going to be in. You got Philadelphia, who just clinched the wild card. So they're in. So you got those four, and then you got two more. Arizona, they have that series against
Houston.
Oh my gosh, Houston. Thank you. They have that series against Houston. They're currently playing the White Sox right now. I think that's what it's saying right here. Anyway. So, gosh, it is. I see Arizona in there for sure. They're only 2 games ahead. So I'm looking at Philadelphia, Arizona, and I think Miami pulls it off. They're going to be that third spot right there. They have I don't want to say easy series, but they have a somewhat manageable series against the Mets, and the Cubs are going to get out because Atlanta is the juggernaut that they are. They're going to have Chicago bumped out of the race, and Miami is going to solidify that third spot. And I wish I could say Cincinnati would be up there, and they're not far out of it either. They got a game and a half, but there's a lot of rolling. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
lots of
rolling
moving
factors
pieces.
into this. Lots of movement,
If
but
Cincinnati makes it in, that means that Chicago got swept by Milwaukee, that Miami
yeah,
got swept by Pittsburgh, is what that
yeah,
means.
right,
And then Cincinnati went out and swept whoever their last 3 games are, or St. Louis. So
yeah.
lots of moving
St.
pieces.
Louis. Lots of moving pieces, but my final three in the wild card: Philadelphia, Arizona, Miami.
Interesting. Okay. I
Yep.
like what you're saying. Man, I wish I had the same confidence in Arizona. So Philadelphia, obviously, because they've already clinched a spot, they're in.
Yep.
Arizona, though, they only got 2 games up on Chicago and Miami at this point, and they got a 3-game series against Houston, who is
Yeah.
not entirely unmotivated because they're in a playoff race of their own. I
Right.
don't know if Arizona has the firepower to go up against Houston in 3 straight games and take care of business. Because if Arizona doesn't make it, it means they got swept by Houston.
Yeah.
So I think Arizona wins at least one of these next couple of games and gets in. That's also assuming that Cincinnati doesn't win out against St. Louis. St.
Right.
Louis is an unmotivated team going forward.
Yeah.
So I think Arizona wins 1. I don't think Cincinnati gets it done against St. Louis. So really, we're looking pretty much the same until it comes to Chicago and Miami. I take Chicago.
Okay.
I take Chicago because Miami just had to play a doubleheader against New York in New York, and they had to use 2 of their pitchers out of their rotation there. So they're a little short-handed anyway for these last 3 games of the year. Now they are playing Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh isn't motivated to go and win a bunch of games. They're just playing baseball at this point.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you about the rest of Miami's schedule being somewhat easy, but I think I take Chicago because they're going up against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's already secured the division, and Milwaukee is going to get to rest their premier starting pitchers and bullpen guys. So they may not necessarily use them against Chicago in this upcoming series. So my final prediction is Philadelphia, Arizona, Chicago. That's who I have making it.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, so sorry, Miami.
no,
There's
yeah,
only
I
room
mean,
for 2 NL East teams.
Yeah, there's only room for 2.
Yeah.
Agreed with that.
All right. Over to the American League. Baltimore, Texas, Minnesota. They've all made it.
Baltimore's getting ready to win 100 here soon if they.
If they win
Which is
tonight
crazy.
against Boston, right? Do I have that right? Yeah, they're playing Boston in the last 4 of the year. They're going to have 4 cracks at 100. We're going to get to the Red Sox here in a second. But Baltimore, stellar year. I think we're going to be seeing Baltimore. We're going to be seeing more Baltimore to come, and I can't wait to watch it.
How about that story? Worst to first.
Right, worst to first, a bunch of young white guys getting it done at the dish. My hat's off to Baltimore.
No, yeah. Baltimore's been looking great, man. So hats off to them.
Yeah, Baltimore, they took the division. I'm pretty sure at this point. No, actually they haven't. They could still lose the division to Tampa, but I don't see Baltimore losing 4 straight to Boston, as pitiful as Boston is. So Baltimore is going to take the division. Texas in the American League West is going to be a very interesting watch down the road here, just because you have Texas playing America's team.
Yep.
And if Texas gets swept, if Texas loses 3 of these next 4, they're not winning the division. It's either Houston or Seattle at that point. Seattle does need help. Seattle needs Arizona to beat up on Houston, and they themselves have to beat Texas. But Minnesota is in, as well as a division winner. Tampa is in. There's no way they're not going right now. It's just a question of whether or not they're a division winner. Toronto is only a half game up of Houston, who is only a game and a half ahead of Seattle. So this most recent series that Houston had against Seattle helped them out a lot because they kind of widened the gap a little bit between them and Seattle. But American League, just because things at the division level still haven't been sorted out, give me your 3 division winners and your
Yep.
3 wildcard teams.
Man, gosh, the AL is so much harder than the NL. But
I know the NL wildcard has been so exciting. The American
Yes.
League snuck up on us. All of a sudden, it's the end of the year, and things haven't been decided. What the heck happened?
Yeah, what the heck happened? Yeah, you're right. So my AL division leaders. Here's what we got. So Minnesota, I think, is solidified. They're going to stay there, obviously, because Central is poverty. So Minnesota's there. I think Baltimore wins out. They went out the rest of the season.
They went out. So you're saying Boston gets swept at home in September?
Yeah. Which pains me to say. Because Baltimore just looks strong. I think at the rest of this week. So yeah, that happens. So Baltimore takes the East. The West is what's killing me because I'll show you this here. I got a Texas Ranger hat right here as of recently. Not because they're doing well in the postseason. I really like the color of this hat and the logo. The Texas Rangers logo is elite, or one of the more elite ones.
Yeah.
But the West is just such a shakeup, man. And I think Texas is solidified as the division leader. So those are my 3 division leaders. Right
Okay.
there. Baltimore, Texas, and Minnesota. AL wild card, obviously, Tampa Bay is going to be there. Toronto, I think, with their series against the Yankees, they're going to take the series against the Yankees coming up, and I don't know who they're playing after that.
No, that's it. It's just one more series.
Oh, that's it. One more series.
No. Yeah,
Dang.
one more series after that. They got Tampa.
Gotcha. Okay, so I say they do well in those series, and then all of a sudden, man, you got Houston and then America's team. Give me America's team.
Okay,
as the last wild card.
So you're taking Baltimore, Texas, Minnesota as it stands right now. Then you're taking Tampa, Toronto, and Seattle. You're kicking Houston.
Yeah,
right.
I want to see it. I mean, obviously these are just predictions.
Yeah.
But I want to see it.
All right.
Give me America's team.
I'm coming at you with a hot take right here. I got Baltimore doing very similarly to what you said against Boston. I don't see him going 4-4. I see him going 3-4, finishing 102 wins. Very impressive. Nice job, Baltimore. I see Texas. Yeah, I see Texas as the winner of the AL West, and I see Minnesota obviously having already clinched their in. Tampa is going up against Toronto. And Toronto only holds a half-game lead over last place in the wild card.
Yeah.
I expect to see a shakeup because Tampa still thinks they can win the division. And they could.
Yeah.
If
very
they
well could.
Yeah, they got 3 games left. They got 3 shots. If they win all 3, that's a 100-win season. You tell me that Tampa's not motivated right now. You tell me that Randy Arozarena is not salivating over the possibility. Right. And Tyler Glasnow looks like a god on the mound. Yeah. That guy looks incredible right now. Struck out 14 against Boston. I don't see how you touch 97 that cuts, honestly.
Yeah, right.
So I got Tampa whooping up on Toronto. Tampa takes division spot number 1. Houston takes division spot number 3.
Okay.
Seattle replaces Toronto.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Toronto, I see Toronto getting kicked out just because they're playing one of the American League juggernauts in Tampa. They could get blasted 3-0, take 3 losses right there. All of a sudden, they're out of it because Houston, to stay ahead of them, at that point just has to win 1 against Arizona. Yeah. And Seattle, if they win 2 or 3, if they win 3 against Texas, they're in. So I see Toronto getting kicked out. Honestly, at this point, with as inconsistent as their offense has been this year, you look at the guys offensively for them, and you're thinking this team should be putting up historic numbers. But it's just not there for them. They're severely inconsistent. You had Alek Manoah be Alek Manoah. Your most consistent guy on the mound has been Jose Barrios, who hasn't missed a start for his 3rd or 4th straight year. Just I don't see Toronto being that team.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that unfolding. Toronto's lineup looks kind of strong. I mean, I don't know. Is Bichette still hurt?
Yeah.
I remember is he still hurt?
No, I think he's in the lineup.
He's in the lineup. Okay.
Yeah. Bichette,
But
Biggio, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., Kevin Kiermaier, George Springer. This lineup should do things.
They should. Yeah, but I can see it.
Yeah. So, which actually leads us straight into this conversation. So those are our picks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is also the last time that we get to talk about managers that we think are on the hot seat before the playoffs start. Yeah. And there's this unspoken rule in baseball that you don't fire or hire a manager or do any big roster shakeup during the postseason. Just because out of respect for what the postseason is, it's the most exciting time of the year. Let's let that be the focus. So we want to get ahead of the curve here. We want to actually tell you what we think about managers right now so that when the fire sale does happen, we're not behind.
Sure.
Having a real hard time with my voice today. It's been a while since I've talked this much.
Oh, dang.
Managers I think are on the hot seat right now. Bob Melvin in San Diego. He's gone.
San Diego, yep.
San Diego's also planning on clearing $50 million off their payroll this year because they don't meet Major League Baseball's internal requirements for debt to revenue ratio. So they're clearing $50 million off their payroll. I expect to also see Fernando Tatis or Juan Soto, possibly both, gone. Bob Melvin is going to be the first piece of that. The second they fire Bob Melvin, expect the fire sale to come shortly after that. Because then the general manager has nobody in his ear stopping him from making a rash decision and trading Juan Soto or Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah, the only two things about that is that I look at both Tatis and Juan Soto's contracts. Who else do you think in the juggernaut of these MLB teams will be able and will be willing to take that contract with the talents that they are?
I think if you're Boston and you're not picking up the phone for one of them, if not both of them, you got to pick up the phone for one of them. You're stupid if you're not. I think also the New York Mets, with as willing as they have been to spend in the past and then offload contracts when it's not a good deal anymore, you got to worry about them. Sure. I think Los Angeles is another team. Not the Angels, of course, but the Dodgers. There's only one team in Los Angeles.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, well, that's not their official.
But anyway.
They're just a dumpster fire. But, I mean, shoot. Baltimore still has a ton of payroll available. If Baltimore wants to go after somebody, they totally could. All of a sudden, that's a very dangerous team. Atlanta still has a ton of payroll available. If they wanted to go after somebody, they could. You tell me right now, Tatis is not a better option at shortstop than Orlando Arcia. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just think about it for a second. If they make him available, people are going to call and ask.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Second manager, I think, is gone as soon as the postseason ends. Buck Showalter. He's gone. He was brought in to do the job with a roster that was capable of doing it, and he didn't do it.
So far gone.
He's gone.
So far gone. And I think Alonso, is rumored to be leaving. I think at some point.
Possibly this offseason, we could see Pete Alonso traded.
Could we? Hot take, or not so much of a hot take, but I think he does get traded, and he does get traded to the Brewers.
Ooh, I love that actually from Milwaukee. Yeah. Give it to me now.
Yeah, because I mean, the last good first baseman that they've had, was Prince Fielder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the first baseman they had.
No. Hold on. There was that one guy.
No, you're right. What's
he
his
was
name?
Jacked. He had it.
Oh
right?
Yeah, dang it. He played overseas. He played in Japan.
He did. His last name is James.
Eric Thames.
Yes, Eric Thames. Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, he was a dog.
Did he play first base? Sure. All right, you keep talking.
He did play first.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that would be my hot take is that Alonso does get moved at one point or another, and it's to the Brewers.
Okay.
So then you got him, you got Yelich, You got oh gosh, who I'm blanking here. Dang it. There was somebody
Ryan
else on the
Braun.
team.
No, Sal Frelick.
Yes, Sal
Got a
Frelick,
bunch of
and
young
then
talent there.
Colton Wong. I mean, he's a vet, but I mean, he can still produce when he can.
Contreras, the younger
Contreras,
Contreras, yeah,
yes. So possible,
yeah. So
but
Showalter's gone. The Mets are semi blowing it up, but they're
yeah,
also going to be in on Otani this upcoming offseason. I expect them to be.
yeah.
Third manager on the hot seat, Aaron Boone.
Now, are you just saying that because you're a Red Sox fan?
Yes, but
And I'm a Red Sox fan.
also because I found myself talking crap with a bunch of Yankees fans anyway, and they dislike Cashman and they dislike Boone with everything they have. Because if
Wow.
you look at the Yankees and their ability to spend, they've only maxed out their payroll a couple of times in the past couple of years. I think, yeah, they've paid a lot of money for a couple players recently, and the payout
Yeah.
structure has been a little bit different. But if you look early 2000s to like 2010, they actually maxed everything out that they could, and they went and won a World Series in 2009. Now, Brian Cashman hasn't done that since 2009, and people are tired of it.
Yep.
I think we actually, with the Yankees this upcoming offseason, I would be shocked if we do not see Hal Steinbrenner fire his GM and Brian Cashman and fire the head coach, Aaron Boone. I think both of them are gone this winter. You can't be the manager and coach for the New York Yankees and be at risk of finishing below 500 at the end of September at fourth place in the division.
Yeah, kind of what Hal Steinbrenner I think should probably have a mindset of is what his father would do. Like, if the manager is not getting it done, he's not putting out the best lineups to get the job done, you got to look somewhere else. I mean, I don't even know how many fires that George Steinbrenner had, but it was a significant amount, and he brought somebody back, I think, a couple of times.
Yeah,
even.
But then also, you fire the coach if he's not getting the job done with the roster. But also, what roster?
He kept Cashman. Yeah,
it's Cashman also too that has to go. Yeah, we're saying the same thing.
Agreed.
Next,
and he did keep Cashman in when George. I don't know when George essentially did leave and wasn't a part of the organization for that amount of time. But during that time, I think the year's 1998 that Cashman I think was named the GM. So as old as you are, Alex, Cashman has been.
Yeah, Cashman has been the general manager as long as I've been alive.
Manager. So,
yeah, and the Red Sox have more World Series since the year 2000. Yeah. So, sucks to be you.
I think it's time.
All right, so this last guy, I'm not saying absolutely he's gone because the players love playing for him, but I think if Toronto misses the playoffs, John Schneider is in trouble.
Oh, wow.
Because he's had a roster for a couple years in a row that has been capable, at least according to a bunch of people, of going on a postseason run and not getting squashed at the beginning, but actually going deep in it.
Yeah.
I think if Toronto misses the postseason, like I predicted, John Schneider may be in trouble.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Which is, it's tough because I know that those guys love playing for him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't be where you are right now with the roster that you have and then miss.
Yeah. No, that's good. And in 2022, in October, he did reach a 3-year deal with the Blue Jays because he was the interim.
Interim.
Yeah, I said that right. Interim. Thank you. Interim manager, replacing Charlie Montoyo, and then he picked up that 3-year deal and an option within 2026. And no, I totally agree with you. If this is something that is continued on, and Toronto doesn't see a postseason run like we did see, with Edwin and Encarnacion was a part of the team, which I don't know what the year that was, but yeah, I could definitely see that happening too. So
yeah. So we've already talked about 2 shakeups in the American League East. We've talked about Boone going, talked about Schneider going. You know that Cora is staying. That news came out yesterday that he's staying with the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. So Alex Cora excluded. What is your end of the season wrap up one bright spot that you saw this year out of Boston that you're walking away with?
That I'm walking away with?
Yeah.
That we're finally making the changes I think that we need to. With Kind Bloom out of the office, I think that gives us a new perspective of what we're kind of looking at and what we need to kind of move on, look forward to moving forward. And like I totally wasn't against when we were talking about this a couple episodes, like Alex Cora taking on that general manager position. I totally probably see that happening.
Yeah, man, I
At the
don't
end,
know if he would do it, but I'm not against it either.
not against it. So I think we're finally making the changes. We're finally seeing that okay, with the lineup that we thought that we had going into this year, it's not panning out the way that we need to. We need to start looking into the offseason. We need to be buyers this offseason. If we're
Yeah.
not buyers this offseason, it's
It's
I
not
don't know
worth
what.
keeping. Yeah.
Not worth keeping. So, yeah, I think that's the one takeaway I think from this year.
Yeah. So there's your bright
Or
spot.
the
What
one
about
bright spot.
Yeah. What about your downer? What's the downer this year?
Yeah. For me, I hate to say it, but Rafael Devers.
Ooh, okay. I didn't think you were going there. Speak
Yeah.
more on that. Why him?
Yeah. So I remember us talking in like at the beginning of the year, like coming off in a contract extension, and I love that we got him locked up for a couple more, or not a couple more, like for long term. Glad that we did that. I'm glad that we're finally paying our players. That was I think the culmination of everything. And he started off really really strong. Was looking forward to seeing him in the lineup and absolutely being a beast. And was like, if he keeps this up and he is like doing what he's doing at the beginning of the year, like we're looking at an MVP year. And then it kind of faded out, and we didn't see that same Rafi. So that was my letdown. I think like Rafi wasn't producing the way he needed to produce at the. I forget when it like eventually started going downhill for him, but he just didn't produce the same
Like
way.
June, July. It looked a little rough.
Yeah, looked a little rough for him, and then it kind of just continued on from there. But yeah, I think that was my one letdown. I think this year is like we saw Rafi's potential, we saw what he could do for us this year, and we just didn't see it. We just didn't see it. It turned out to be the opposite of what we normally see out of Rafi. He has a slow start and then finally starts picking it up, and like all of a sudden, all-star third baseman. We saw at the beginning of this year, all-star third baseman, and then kind of struggling Rafi trying to figure it out and like what his plate appearances start looking like. So I think that's my letdown for the year.
Gotcha. No,
What say you, my friend?
That makes sense. All right, so my bright spot, actually, I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to pick an individual player in Justin Turner, who was taken out of the game yesterday in like the 8th or 9th, and got his standing ovation. I hope he stays with Boston this upcoming year, but the guy put on an absolute show and played through a contusion in his ankle and just continued to get the job done at the plate when it seemed like no one else was willing to grind out an at-bat.
Yeah, and took a pitch to the dome. Or had
spring
something
training.
happen in spring training. Yeah.
Yeah, had a messed up face and everything, and he came right back out there, and he just, my hat's off to him. He did a great job. If I were in Boston,
absolute dog.
Yeah, I'd be part of that standing ovation. I think he deserved it absolutely. I think he's a Red Sox through and through, clearly embodying the spirit of Boston just by being the guy that he is and toughing it out. I hope he stays with the team. I hope it's not indicative of him possibly leaving this offseason. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. But him coming out of the game, I just don't want that to be a salute. Like, let's give him his standing ovation while we can, because he's not going to be here next year. I hope that was just this guy had a remarkable season, and he deserves this. That's my bright spot. My letdown. I wish that I could just go ahead and say the entire year, but in reality, I can point to one pivotal moment, and that was August 1st when we did nothing. And that's no disrespect to Luis Arias, who we did acquire from Milwaukee.
Luis Urias.
Yeah, Luis Urias, who we did acquire from Milwaukee. But I think that was the point in time where Kind Bloom could have gone and gotten 2, if not 3, major league level, big league ready starters, we would be in a very different position right now.
Right.
We would be talking about the Red Sox in this wild card race, but we're not. I think in part due to that. So that's my low spot.
Right.
We are planning to have this conversation about robo umpires because this is the part of the year where I see so many games seemingly come down to what the home plate umpire thinks the strike zone is that day. And I think part of that's just due to the amount of game and the scrutiny with which we are watching right now. So we'll have that conversation eventually. We may even save that for Monday next week or Thursday next week. But we're at an hour, and we haven't started talking about football.
Wow.
So I think we kind of need to transition into talking about football.
Let's do it.
So if you're a football listener only, welcome to the show. This is Diamonds and Hash Marks. I'm the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
I'm Peyton Pichardo, the co-host. You dig?
He keeps doing that. I need somebody to comment and tell him to stop. Because he's not going to stop if I ask him to.
That's my staple.
All right,
okay,
so,
all right.
man, this is going to be a fun conversation. We got plenty to talk about. The Jets are seemingly about to implode. I got some thoughts about Dallas. We got some conversation about the Bengals. We got Lions versus Packers tonight. You got some thoughts about Taylor Swift, which fits into a football conversation, oddly enough. We're going to talk about a story that ESPN senior writer Jeff Legwold wrote, because I thought it was interesting. We got to talk about the Dolphins. We got to make our picks. And then we got best and worst of the week. So if you're listening to the full show, hats off to you. I probably would not. My attention span does not last that long. But buckle up because we got a football conversation coming your way. Let's start with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, torn Achilles, out for the year. Zach Wilson, the unlikely replacement. Well, totally likely replacement. He was the only guy available, but not the guy they wanted to play quarterback. They're 1-2, right?
Yeah. I want to say so.
Won that first game against Buffalo, seemingly by a miracle because Buffalo's punter didn't want to tackle a punt return. Then they go and they lose their next two games, and Zach Wilson looks terrible. I heard, what's his name? Oh, man, he's on ESPN, Get Up with Mike Greenberg.
Damian Woody?
Not him, the other guy.
All
right, his name escapes me. No, another guy. Not Orlovsky. Anyway, his opinion that he
Marcus
shared...
Spears?
Yes, Marcus Spears. He has the opinion of...
Swagoo. Okay.
Yes, if you are the New York Jets and your offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett, at this point, with as much talk about implosion that they have had, that we have had, why don't you just say, screw it. Let the kid go, grip it and rip it. Here's the play. Here's your primary receiver. Let it loose. If it's an interception, our defense is all class. They're going to go out and they're handle it. But go out there. Don't be afraid. Make the throws. Because he said post-game, last game they played, my job is to protect the football and try to make a play on third down. That's a losing mentality. What's stopping you from saying grip it and rip it? Do you think grip it and rip it fixes this implosion?
I think so. One of the wide receivers, Garrett Wilson, I have seen all over Twitter as of recently right now. Not him necessarily making tweets, but video clips of him being super frustrated and not following through with the game plan. And the game plan, I think, is just keep the ball or hold on and protect the ball until third down and then go from there. And I know that we're this offense is centered around Aaron Rodgers, and sadly, we did see him go out week one in the first drive, and it was very, very, very sad. But I mean, if I'm Garrett Wilson, I'm right there with him. I am frustrated that we have an offense that is catered to one of the greatest quarterbacks in Aaron Rodgers, and you bring in this guy who had that potential to be, and some could argue that he probably shouldn't have been the second pick of the draft, but
I'll
is
make that
very well up
argument.
there. You'll make that argument, of course. But like, is like a first round quarterback probably shouldn't have been picked number two, and like you just you gotta roll with the punches. You have to make third downs. You have to drive the ball down the field. You have to throw it in the air, regardless of whether it gets picked or not. You have a defense that's centered around Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, and many others that are not coming to mind right now. But you have
A
a
defense
strong
that's
defense,
capable.
very capable. I
Yeah.
mean, and then we could have the same argument with the Broncos. Like, they have a great defense, but look, they got blown out by 50 points.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
I got my
like
thoughts about
a
Dallas.
lots of frustration. Not Dallas. Sorry, Denver.
Oh, okay.
They got blew out by the Dolphins.
Oh yeah,
But
there was a margin of 50 points.
margin of 50 points. But yeah, if I'm the Jets and I'm Garrett Wilson, we grip it and rip it. Let's do it,
But
please.
also, I can't help but feel bad for Nathaniel Hackett because
Yeah.
it's been very clear that Sean Payton is not capable of, at least so far, not capable of fixing what is in Denver, which makes Nathaniel Hackett look great, look better than he did upon exiting. Because now it's like, okay, maybe the head coach wasn't the problem. Maybe the roster configuration and the scheming was actually the problem. But also, he goes to New York thinking he has Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
Now he's got Zach Wilson. That's back-to-back jobs that Nathaniel Hackett has had where it's lose-lose. He doesn't seemingly have a win until afterwards, you know?
Yeah.
So, look, the last episode we did, I was pretty hard on Dallas. And I kept thinking about this. I'm getting ready to turn into Stephen A. Smith with as anti-Dallas as I am going to become. I am going to celebrate every Cowboys loss, and I'm going to hate every Cowboys win. But from now on, Dallas, your star is not a logo, it is a rating. You are 1 of 5 stars at best. And I'll leave it there.
Wow.
It's not a logo, it's a rating.
Yeah.
Now
I think that's credible. I think that holds up.
Their offense can win games. Dak can definitely elevate the play of his team. Their red zone offense needs some tweaking, needs some help. They're missing a tight end that they've had in the past, Jason Witten. They don't have that big body vertical threat, red zone threat tight end. Yeah. And obviously they're missing it. Their defense is world class. Their defense can get the job done. When Diggs is in the lineup, there's something scary. But I think Arizona proved their defense isn't that scary when you feel comfortable throwing the ball. Now you just got to get the ball out every 2-3 seconds. That way Micah Parsons can't do what he wants to your offensive line.
Yeah.
Your offense, though, needs to focus on the skill guys. Tony Pollard, Brandon Cooks, CeeDee Lamb. It's not like you're missing pieces. The only piece you're possibly missing is in the red zone, a big body tight end. Other than that, it's Dak Prescott and whether or not he can successfully distribute the ball. Your division is tough, but your star is not a logo, it's a rating.
Yeah. And I mean, you got that whole thing with Zach Martin as well, wanting to get paid. And I think he did, but I think he's on injury report right now. So
yeah, he should have been if he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, and also, and honestly, he should have been paid. I think he is I think he's a 99 rating in Madden for good reason. Like, he is strong. He's a really, really good guard, and we should hopefully, if like regardless of how the Cowboys do, should be a Hall of Famer at one point or another. I don't know how many Pro Bowls he's been to in his time, but like anyway, just to go off of that.
So that's all I got to say about Dallas moving forward. I wanted to make sure my opinion was very clear, and I think it is now. Something that I noticed on Monday night when I was watching the Bengals play was Joe Burrow getting the ball out very quickly, and if the play was not there, throwing the ball away. or throwing it at the feet of the receiver or over their head intentionally. And make me ask the question, how contingent is this offense's success on Joe Burrow's healthy ankle?
Yeah.
If you remove Joe Burrow from this offense, could you plug in another quarterback and all of a sudden it's functioning? Or is Joe Burrow the key to the success, regardless of Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, or T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon?
Yeah.
Like, is Joe Burrow the key? Is that why they are 1-2? Is it because Joe Burrow is playing on a bum leg?
Yeah, no, I was watching those games on Monday as well, and I've been loving recently that there's been 2 games on Monday, but obviously that's gonna not.
Yeah. Okay. Also, the NFL needs to do that from here on out, a doubleheader, so in case one game is a stinker, you can turn on the other.
Yeah, totally agree. But yeah, I was watching that game as well. To answer like some of your questions that you're posing here, like if you were to throw like another quarterback in there, I think. If you throw like any like top 5 quarterback in the league, like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, any of those guys, I think like the offense is what it is. It is what it holds up to be. But like only like I think from that top 5, maybe top 10 quarterbacks in the league that could like keep up with the offense and hold it to what it is now with Joe Chase and Joe Mixon. But I think to go off of your question, I think it definitely does like matter if Joe Burrow is healthy and what that ankle is looking like on any given Sunday, because he is the key. He definitely is the key.
So you think
the reason?
You think the Bengals offense could be plug and play, where they could put a top 10, top 15 quarterback in there and it would function better than it is right now. But Joe Burrow is the key. And other than those top 15 is the only quarterback in there who can elevate the play of those guys.
I think so.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think that's what I was trying to convey. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So plug and play, yes, because it's a special offense, because of the talent that they have. But Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, suddenly it's much more dangerous than it's looked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually had me concerned a little bit. Just because if Joe is done for the year, an offensive line that historically has not been great at protecting him, and he's already been hurt because of them. Now, yes, this is a new offensive line. Not a lot of the same players, but historically, Joe has kind of been beaten up. I don't want another Andrew Luck situation with Joe because I know Bengals fans would be distraught if they woke up one day and Joe Burrow was saying, yeah, you know, my body, I'm tired of taking hits. We're done.
Yeah.
So just something to think about. As far as the Bengals' success, I think it's very contingent on Joe Burrow's health. And that's kind of what we've kind of been seeing. He hasn't been healthy yet, hence they're 1-2. But speaking of healthy offenses, these Miami Dolphins, I'm willing to say that they are Super Bowl contenders. Peyton, do you think there is anything left for them to prove, in your mind, for them to be a legit Super Bowl contender?
They cannot crumble and falter like they did last year when they went 3-0.
So you're saying Tua has to stay healthy?
Tua has to stay healthy here, and they cannot go down this rabbit hole like they did again last year. Tua has been going through trainings, I think, as well, and like instead of like when he goes down, he can't just like go like flat on his back. He has to roll.
Yeah.
So that his head does not hit the ground, and because the Dolphins cannot afford Tua having another concussion.
No, they can't.
If that is in play, then I start to question if Tua plays another game.
Yeah, should be playing football, honestly, if he has another concussion. I think that's the conversation we'll have. But this offense is clicking, and they're firing on all cylinders. This upcoming weekend, they got the Bills, who is a very talented defense. And just because they're playing the Dolphins, I actually had to make the decision with my fantasy roster to go and pick up the Niners defense, who's playing Arizona. I don't know why somebody dropped them, but I picked them up, looking to score 20-plus points there.
I have the Niners defense. Why did they drop? What the heck?
Yeah, I know. I don't really understand that, but I think they dropped him to pick up another player or something, but I pounced on that. I needed to. This offense is incredible. I love the pre-snap motion that they're doing. They're extending their safeties further back. The linebackers are being put in a blender. And
yeah, having Tyreek Hill in motion has been really helpful for them because all of a sudden he's in motion and then you see him like dart across the field on a post route.
Yeah, and he's gone. But then also they're committed to the run game. Now the safeties and everybody have to respect the fake handoffs when Tua turns his back. And I don't know. This offense is something special. The last time we saw an offense extremely special, possibly like this, I'm not saying they're the same. All I'm saying is ESPN wrote a story today. Senior writer, can't remember his name.
You said it earlier in the show, but I can't remember.
I did. So, Fullwood, something. I don't know.
Something like that.
The last great offense that we saw was the 2013 Denver Broncos, who broke the single-season scoring record. They put up 606 points over the course of the year. And that's in the regular season only. And we don't talk about them as often as we should. Possibly because there haven't been that many amazing offenses that just score at will. But that was the offense with Peyton Manning, Eric Decker, Julius Thomas, Demaryius Thomas. Like that, they had everything working for them. They had an offensive line ready to protect the quarterback. Seemingly the same thing here in Miami. You have Tua, who's throwing dimes as far as he can to Jalen Waddle when he's healthy, Tyreek Hill. You got Mostert in the backfield. You got an offensive line that's capable of protecting him.
Yeah.
The question that ESPN is asking in this article is Miami's offense capable of being the next team to eclipse that 600-point mark? Could they possibly beat 606 points? And they put up 70 against the Broncos, so they've got a little bit of a head start.
Yep.
I did the math. 17 games in a season. Granted, one more game than Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos had in 2013.
Yep.
But 17 games in a season means that a team has to average 36 points per game to break the record.
Yeah. And it all depends on what their schedule looks like, which I'm pretty sure we're going to go into.
We're going to go into. So we're going to look at the games that they've already played. And then we're going to look at the games that are left on their schedule. And we're going to ask the question, are they capable of scoring 35? Are they capable of scoring 36? So far this season, the Miami Dolphins have scored 36 against the Chargers. They've scored 24 against the New England Patriots, and they scored a very impressive 70 against the Broncos. That's 130 points. 606 minus 130 is 476. So we'll do it this way, actually. They've got 476 left, and they've got, quick math, 14 games left because we've played 3.
Played 3? Yep, 14.
Yep. They have to average 34 points. Not that big of a difference. That 70-point game put them back on pace, actually.
Right, yeah. So that's like what? So 5 touchdowns? They have to make extra points? They have to make 2-point conversions?
Very difficult to do, but also they put 70 up.
Yeah.
Can they score 34 against the Bills? No.
That's going to be a back and forth, so no.
Okay. Can they put up 34 against the Giants?
Yes.
Absolutely. The Panthers?
Yes.
The Eagles?
No.
The Patriots?
Yes.
The Chiefs?
Absolutely not.
The Raiders?
Yes.
The Jets?
Slamming it, yes.
Same. The Commanders?
Absolutely slamming it, yes.
The Titans?
Ooh. Yes.
The
Hesitant,
Jets?
but yes. Yes.
The Cowboys?
Slamming it, yes.
Well, I don't know. The way that their defense is configured, let's remember it is Micah Parsons. But you know what? For the sake of what you're saying, you're slamming it. It's a rating, not a logo. Slamming it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing I'm saying about Dallas. I'll believe it when I see it. Go win a playoff game. I'm not believing you until that happens.
Yeah, Blake Bortles has won more playoff games than the Cowboys have in 30 years. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. The Ravens.
Hesitant.
And then the Bills.
I'd say no. And then no.
Okay.
So that's 1, 2.
But
3,
we're saying the
4,
Jets, yes.
6,
The Commanders, yes.
7,
the Titans, possibly. The
8,
Jets again. Raiders again.
9.
But also, it's not like the weak teams that they're playing are also competitively weak. The weak teams they're
Yes.
playing are very weak. I would not be shocked if they actually do it because they put up 24, they put up 30, they put up 20. I don't know, 24, somewhere between the 24 and 30 range against a team like the Bills and then the
Yeah.
Eagles and the Chiefs. But then when they're playing the Jets or they're playing the Panthers, they're putting up another 40 or 50. I think they're
Yeah.
capable of doing it if it averages out the rest of the year. I'm not saying they're doing exactly 34 the rest of the year, but I think they're capable.
I think they're capable as well.
Okay, so you wouldn't be
That's
shocked
valid.
if at the end of the year we're saying this is the highest scoring offense of all time. Which is what they would be. That's quite the title.
Say what they would be. Yeah. Oof. Man, it's probable. I like it. It's an out there prediction, but I'll say yes. I say they do it.
All right. Speaking of scoring, Travis Kelce. The man has scored. Taylor Swift in the press box. Now I want to preface this conversation. That segue was amazing. That was
awesome.
I'm not taking any crap
Anyway,
for it.
Go ahead.
I want to start this conversation off by saying, Swifties, we understand your love for Taylor Swift. We may not reciprocate it the exact same way.
Right.
Please don't cancel us. But my brother Peyton has some thoughts about the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift situation. The floor is yours.
Yeah. ESPN and other sports outlets have been just riding the story for the past week. I'm tired of seeing it. And Christopher Russo, Mad Dog Russo, is tired of seeing it as well. Which
no, but that guy is controversial on purpose.
I know. But if I'm agreeing with Mad Dog Russo, then
true.
something's up.
True. Okay.
So,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That guy wears being canceled as a badge of honor, but suddenly we're agreeing with him just a little bit.
We're agreeing with him, yeah. But like, don't get me wrong, like the Kelce Swift thing, like, great for them. I'm happy for them. Like, I hope it does work out actually, for them, because like I totally see that being a thing. But I'm tired of seeing it. I just want to watch football. That's all I want to watch.
True.
So I have nothing wrong with Taylor Swift. I think she is great. She is a great artist, like one of the greatest songwriters of our time.
Bop after bop after bop.
Bop after bop. And, well, maybe except for Reputation. Reputation was kind of out there a little bit. There's some songs on there that I'm like, okay, maybe, but like other than that, no. But
okay, no, Swifties, he didn't just say that. I promise.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Please like and subscribe for the show. But no.
Shameless.
Yeah. I'm tired of seeing it.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot.
Sports historically has been the place where people have gone to avoid that sort of drama. And here it is in our lap once again. I'll just say this. Taylor, if you break up with Travis isn't going anywhere. He is an all-time tight end. He may have been the problem. You may have been the problem. I don't care. Travis is still in the headlines. He's an all-time tight end.
And if she breaks up with Travis, or if Travis breaks up with her, that's gonna be a fire album.
Man, it's gonna be an amazing. It's gonna be an amazing album. But men are not going to dislike Travis Kelce because he and Taylor Swift did not work out. That will be. Awesome. That's the last feud of this earth. It's the last fight. It's endgame at that point. Taylor Swift versus Travis Kelce fans. That's the endgame fight. If this goes poorly, that's where it ends.
Yeah.
And neither side is giving up who they're fighting for.
Nope. I agree.
I don't have a clever segue to take us to the next conversation.
It's all good. I'm just glad that we're done talking about
it. Nice. So, yeah, I guess we're sort of coming to the close of this conversation. Really, all that we have left to do today is make picks.
Let's make picks.
We're going to start with college football just because there is a Thursday night football game tonight. And we're going to go talk about the Thursday night football game. That is going to be one of our picks. But we're going to go ahead and start with the NCAA and the games that they have this upcoming week. I did hear that Wilson for the Florida Gators is not on an injured list, is on the depth chart, is active going up against Kentucky. That will help them out a bunch.
Yeah.
Are there any games right off the bat that are sticking out to you that you want to pick? Or do you want me to just kind of go and try to find a couple? Because this week isn't as built up as weeks have been in the past.
Right. Yeah. So the only one that comes out to me, obviously, is the Florida game. I want to pick that one. The Texas game also sticks out to me as well.
Yeah,
And
because you like
then
Texas. I say
like
we do
Texas.
those two, and then we do the USC Colorado game.
Great. Yep. Sounds good to
All
me.
right, so USC Colorado, number 8 versus an unranked Colorado. And Colorado looked bad the last time we saw them on a football field.
Out of the top 25.
Yeah, they are unranked now. So, in the past, we've seen spreads for USC be a little bit ridiculous, but then we saw them meet those spreads and actually cover
Yeah.
those.
But they
So,
lived up to it. Yeah.
this game, as of right now, September 28th, a Thursday, Caesar Sportbooks has the spread at USC favored by 21.5. That's 3 touchdowns.
It's 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
And then a little
in
more.
a game in Colorado.
Which
is
2
wild.
weeks ago, I would have said that's absurd. But after watching what Oregon did against Colorado, I say that's actually very possible.
It's pretty accurate because Oregon was like even they were favored by I want to say like 28 almost, and we were like, huh?
Yeah, that looks a little ridiculous.
And then yeah, so I mean 21 is the line and USC's favored. I'm taking it actually. USC covers.
USC covers over under at 73.5. How do you feel about that?
So Colorado, I think, is going to get some points on the board. Hopefully,
this time
we'll see. This time, but USC, I think, is gonna take this one. So it's just all a matter of how many Colorado's going to score. I don't have
that truly is the decider.
That's the decider. So I'm gonna hit under just because.
Yeah, I'm hitting the under
if
too.
If USC takes the game and Colorado doesn't score, then it's USC, and it's under.
Before we move on to this next game, I do want to throw out there for people that are listening to our betting advice, you are addicted, call 1-800-GAMBLING. We are not professional bettors. We're not putting down money on any of this. We're just merely having a conversation about it. So if you're taking our advice, please stop. The next game that we're going to talk about is going to be Florida versus the University of Kentucky.
I like this game.
The spread actually is very shocking to me in this one because I would take Kentucky in a heartbeat to win this game anyway, just because of how sluggish Florida's offense has looked to start this year. Kentucky is only favored by a point, which kind of almost shocks my system into thinking otherwise, but I think that's a trap. I'm still taking Kentucky money line. I'm taking Kentucky to cover the spread. The over-under at 45, I'm taking the over.
Yeah. Kentucky's looks strong. I mean, I don't know the opponents that they've had as recently, but they're 4-0, which is surprising.
Better than the Gators.
Better than the Gators as well. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say Kentucky takes this one. So money line and that they cover, and I'm gonna hit the under. Actually, it'll be a low scoring game, but Kentucky will come out on top. Sadly, I know for people who are listening in Gainesville. And for you, because you are also in Gainesville.
There are going to be a bunch of people upset about that one.
Yeah.
It's okay, though. We weren't supposed to be amazing this year anyway. So this last game on the lineup is going to be Texas and Kansas. Texas favored by 16.5, and you are in love with Texas. So I would venture to let me pick for you. Over under at 61. You're going to say Texas covers, and then you're going to take the over because of Quinn Ewers. I'm going to say Texas covers, and I'm taking the under because I'm not sold on 61.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
I think that's manageable. Both 4-0 teams going into this, I think, and Kansas has been looking strong in their games.
Yeah, I don't think Kansas is that big of a joke.
Yeah, as we've seen, I think last year even like they had a good run, and then I think they lost the game that College Game Day went to them for, and I think like a rivalry game. I think they lost to Kansas State, which Kansas State was awesome last year, beating TCU. I think in the championship.
Yes,
So
they did.
yeah, and then we just haven't heard from Kansas State at all this year. But yeah, so you're right. So taking Texas in this one, and then taking the over, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Taking Texas, but the under. Let's
That's
go
good.
ahead and move on to the NFL. I got a couple storylines that I'm following as this one moves on.
Yeah.
The Vikings and the Panthers are both 0-3. They're playing at 1 p.m. on Fox on Sunday. Minnesota is favored by 4, and the over-under for this game is going to be set at 46.5. Somebody's got to come out on top. Somebody's got to be a winner.
Okay, there we go.
Is it Kirk Cousins or Bryce Young?
Kirk Cousins.
You think they get it done?
Yeah, I want them. I want them to win. The Vikings have this almost the same squad they do last year, and they rode into the playoffs. Played the Colts and had the biggest comeback of NFL history. Like 38, they were down 38-3.
Yeah.
Came back and won it, which was wild. I want to see some wins for the Vikings, so I'll take the Vikings. I'll taking the Vikings to cover, and then what was the over under for that game?
46.5.
46.5. I will have to take the under for that one.
Yeah, I think the quarterback series on Netflix made Kirk Cousins so likable, and I want it so badly for him just because of that.
Yeah.
I need to see Minnesota win this game. If they lose this game, I will 100% entertain any of the Justin Jefferson trade talks and the T.J. Hawkinson talks. But
T.J. Hawkinson is the number 1 tight end in like fantasy right now.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely, that's my guy.
That's my guy.
So I need Minnesota to cover this. If Minnesota isn't going to cover it, then man, I would just feel so bad for Kirk Cousins over there in Minnesota. 46.5. I think you hit it right on. Taking the under in that one. I don't see it being a terribly high scoring game, even though I want Minnesota to come out on top. The next game that we're going to pick, obviously, is going to be the Jaguars and the Falcons game. That's at 9:30 on ESPN Plus over there in London. So wake up early for that one. Stay tuned for that one. We're going to have our resident Falcons friend guest on the show on Monday. His name is Cooper Olin. He will be here to discuss Desmond Ridder versus Trevor Lawrence with us. He will be here to try to explain to me why Kyle Pitts hasn't revolutionized the tight end position like I was told he was. But he's going to be here to recap the game with us. Falcons, Jaguars. Jaguars are currently favored by 3, and the over-under for this game is set at 43.5. How do you feel about London?
Feel good about it. It's a home game. I would really want them to come out on top, obviously. The Atlanta has been looking good as recently. And we're favored. We were favored last week. We played the Texans. It didn't look good. So,
yeah, I take the Falcons to cover. I'm taking the under on this one. Jaguars, you're very close to the same boat that I'm placing the Dallas Cowboys in. If you want me to believe that it's actually happening, you got to do it. Prove it to me. Go win a game. Win a freaking game. Convincingly.
Yeah, that's not a hole that the Jaguars, I think, want to go down on your part. So,
yeah, not where I want to find myself. So we're gonna go ahead and save that Monday night game for the Monday episode that we're doing. We're gonna have Cooper make picks alongside us, and he does actually put a little bit of money down on games. That doesn't mean you should listen to him though. So the last game we're gonna pick, obviously, is this Thursday night game. We got Lions and Packers on Amazon Prime Video. Caesar Sportbooks, as of right now, 5:23 p.m., has Detroit favored by 2.
Yeah.
This game is being played in Lambeau.
Yeah, I would I think like a couple of years ago, I would be excited about it because it's an NFC North game, and you got Rodgers going up against Stafford and everything. Yeah, so I'm still excited about this game. That's what I want to touch on. I'm excited about this game. Jared Goff,
Jordan Love, and Jared Goff. This is an exciting matchup.
Yeah, and it's a divisional game, so it means something here. And Detroit's favorite, and it's in Lambeau. So what I'll say here, I think the Packers do come away with a win here, so I think Packers do cover. Oh, you don't like that? Packers do cover.
I don't like it because I'm taking the same again. We're agreeing on everything. That's not good for a podcast.
Ah, dang.
So I'll
Yeah,
be the
but,
contrarian. I say that Detroit wins because Jared Goff is a top
20?
10 quarterback in the NFL. And Aiden Hutchinson is going to wreak havoc
That's a
tonight.
hot take. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're going to say Joe Burrow is a top 10 quarterback, would you?
I'd say he's a top 5.
Okay,
Burrow,
all right.
top 5.
Jared Goff hasn't lost to Patrick Mahomes. And has been to a Super Bowl.
Touche. All right. Never mind.
Yeah, and has taken the Detroit Lions from being sad and pathetic to something that we're excited to watch.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell has played his part in that. Aiden Hutchinson has played his part in that. Aiden Hutchinson is going to wreak havoc tonight. If Aiden Hutchinson does what he wants, he's the reason. He will be the reason. If Detroit wins tonight, it's because of Aiden Hutchinson. So I'm taking Detroit to cover.
Great.
Over under at 45. How do you feel?
Over. I think it's gonna be a shootout. I think, and it's gonna come down to defense. It's gonna come down to Aiden Hutchinson if the Detroit wants to take it.
Okay. 45. I'm taking the over. Just because I think Jordan Love is actually the real deal. And if you're gonna outshoot Jordan Love, you got to be willing to put up 21 to 30, somewhere in that range. So that's why I'm taking the over here.
That's good.
So that really wraps up our football conversation. Something that we're going to try to do every Thursday is our best and worst of the week. So, Peyton, do you have a best and worst of the week?
I do. Yep. So my best of the week is Ronald Acuna. Getting that 40-70, never before seen in the history of baseball before, until he just did it. So really excited for him, especially going into the postseason. He's just going to ride that same energy, I think. So that's my best of the week. Worst of the week is probably everybody would point out to be Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Great that they're together. Stop talking about it.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I think that's fair. Swifties, that's not cancelable.
In sports. Talk about it somewhere else in like some other drama series or whatever you want to talk about it.
Put that on the cover of People magazine, not Sports Illustrated. That's all I'm saying.
My boy. You got it.
My best of the week, I think lots of good happened. I think I have to go with hearing the song Dancing on My Own in the Phillies locker room. That just fired me up.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
That's awesome.
I would love to play the song for you guys here, but if we do, we'll get copyrighted and suddenly we won't be allowed on YouTube. But yeah, I'm going with Dancing on My Own, hearing that in the Phillies locker room. That got me fired up. I'm ready to go. It's October. Get me some Oktoberfest, put me on a couch, put some playoff baseball in front of me, and I'm set. You can just let me die there. My worst of the week that I'm going with, though. So the last time we did this, I kind of railed against Burger King, and this week I'm railing against Twix. Again, a stupid ad. It's the stupidest things that get me fired up. But Burger King, listen, nobody wants to hear about your Whopper. Nobody wants to hear about your Whopper 2 or 3 times in a row. You don't only have to advertise on ESPN. You can advertise elsewhere. It's not only sports fans that are eating your Whopper. And I don't want to listen to it when DeMar Hamlin is laying unconscious on a field and Joe Buck is seemingly crying. Like, we went from Joe Buck crying, basically, in the booth, talking about DeMar Hamlin, cutting to a commercial, and being yelled at about a Whopper. I hate that. Move on, find a different ad, advertise it differently. But you got it in my head, so maybe it's good advertising. What I'm going against today, though, is Twix. Your Halloween ad, where you claim that the Twix bar is more than any other candy bar, has to be the stupidest slogan that I've heard about a candy bar.
And grammar kills you, so that is awful.
The grammar bugs me because nothing can be more it can simply just be more.
Most.
So just saying that the candy bar is more than any other candy bar, like, that's dumb in and of itself. But then you decided to mess up the grammar and say it's more and then it's like a zombie who comes awake and says after the guy says more, and that just it bothered me so much watching it earlier
Yeah.
this week that it is my absolute worst of the week. It's right up there next to Burger King as worst out of all time, and I'm having a hard time not giving it the number one spot. I can listen to the Whopper song more than I'll listen to somebody say this is more than another candy bar. Find a different ad, scrap the whole thing, do something different. I rest my case.
Yeah, I think we now end the episode.
Yeah. So if you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell. We're gonna test on there. We're just really gonna see how well you guys respond to that on there. We're hoping that as many of you show up over there as have showed up on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We really do love and appreciate the support. We enjoy interacting with you guys. If you like this show, you can go check out What's Up Doc on Spotify as well. They are audio only. They do a much better job covering the NFL than we do as far as who they like, who their favorites are. So go give them a listen. This has been an exceptionally long episode.
Yes.
I didn't think it was, quite honestly.
Yeah. It flew by for me.
Yeah, it was very easy to do an hour, 40 minutes. So for the final time today, this is Diamonds and Hash Marks. I talked about all the socials earlier, but if you don't remember them, just find us on social media at Diamond Hashmark on Twitter, and you'll be able to weasel your way through the socials there. So for the final time, Diamonds and Hashmarks, I am the host and producer, Alex Pichardo.
I'm the co-host, Peyton Pichardo. You dig? We'll see you later.
Yeah, so...